Hi, gear lovers. This is Mike Baird with another episode of Mike's Drum Cubby. Hey, Cubbers! Just as a reminder, if you like the channel, hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, send me a comment. But now, let's move on to the LUDWIG SUPRAPHONIC. Yeah, I know, it looks like it belongs as a part of the college frat in Animal House, but it sounds great. There's a story about this at the end also, so stick tuned. The drum is a classic 5.5 by 14, is all original except for the snare wires. The drum dates around 1976, I'm guessing. It was part of a LUDWIG kit that was wrapped in a wood wrap, and that was during the time that LUDWIG had stopped staining drums and just had wrap finishes. Most drummers would say any SUPRAPHONIC is a great drum, and they wouldn't be that far off either. Outside of the earlier ones, which were made out of brass, these drums have stayed actually pretty consistent through the years, and it's a great addition to any playable drum collection. Here's the throw off, the butt end, and the logo. LUDWIG SUPRAPHONIC. This is the one I talk about. Show you the picture of the duct tape. That's kind of like where it likes to live, but obviously you can tune it higher, and we're going to do that. So anyway, here we go. So this one, I tuned it up, tightened the snares just a tad. Here we go. Rim shot. Well, we're back. But before we get to the story, does anybody want to guess the weight of the drum? 6 pounds, 4.4 ounces. Anyway, this story was easy for me. This wasn't the first SUPRAPHONIC I've had. I bought another one, and I bought it years ago from the drum doctor, Ross Garfield. And it was a pristine one, and I paid top dollar for it, but it was really pristine. I mean, it looked brand new. And I used it for a while. And then, you know, like a lot of things, when you have a lot of gear, you fall out of love with it, and it just winds up, you know, sitting on a shelf or whatever. Well, a couple of years after I got that drum, I got a call to do, of all things, a church gig on a Sunday, once a month. Well, I show up at the gig, and this drum that I have here was on that kit. And it really rocked me. I was like, wow, this drum really sounds good. So long story short, I wound up going to the director and bringing my pristine one in and saying, hey, I'll swap you this one for this one. And he goes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, the drum I had looked brand new. So he took that, and I took this one. Now, in hindsight, I probably should have kept both of them, but I didn't. Anyway. And speaking about the SUPRAPHONIC, it always reminds me of Hal Blaine, because this was one of Hal's favorite drums. And I know I became friends with Hal when I first started in the business, and I was so in awe to meet him. You know, it was like he literally was levitating, coming towards me when he introduced himself. And it was awesome. And then I worked with a lot of the Wrecking Crew guys. And by the way, in case you didn't know, he's the one that coined the phrase, the Wrecking Crew. And there's a great documentary on this. Denny Tedesco, Tommy Tedesco's son, Tommy Tedesco was a guitar player in LA. Great, genius guitar player. And his son made this documentary with some other producers. They did a fantastic job. So if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. It's really good. It's great historical type of thing of the session world in LA in that time. Well, the reason I bring up the Wrecking Crew is I worked with a lot of those guys. I worked with Don Randy and Victor Feldman and Larry Knechtel and Chuck DeMonico and Joe Osbourn and Mike Melvoin and Joe Picaro and Emil Richards, and I mean, you know, just lots of these just unbelievably talented guys. And I always considered them, when I got in, as the newbie of the old guard. Not because they were old, and not because they were on their way out, because they were still doing lots of dates, but they were basically session man royalty as far as I was concerned in Los Angeles. And they still are. Well, they embraced me and took me into their fold, and I couldn't have been more appreciative. They were so gracious to me, and it was so awesome. A lot of those guys aren't with us anymore, which is really unfortunate. Don Randy is, though, and I saw him a couple years back before the COVID thing hit. John Good had made a Wrecking Crew drum just for Hal Blaine, and they were dedicating it for him on the drum channel for DW. So I went down, and Don Randy was there, and we reminisced, and he remembers sessions I couldn't even begin to remember, and it was so great to talk to him about it. He's sharp as a tack, just a monster player and such a great person. So anyway, we come to the end of another Cubby, and if you like it, hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, send me a comment. And as we always say,
and that's it.
And we'll see you in a minute.
Yeah? What do you want?